The economic fallout, and Aussies are being warned petrol prices could soon skyrocket too. Let's bring in Dr. Christian Bayliss, founder of Fort Lake Asset Management. Great to have you with us. First off, how high could petrol prices go?
Well, I think we have to work off rules of thumb, but the way the market is currently projecting to open is between a 6 to 10% increase, so not as high as what people were originally thinking, but obviously we've had a bit of news on the Strait of Hormuz and some attacks there, which is where obviously most of the petroleum tankers go through. But the simple rule of thumb is that for every $1, we have about a 1 cent increase. So if we're up 30 cents, if we're up $30, that will equal 30 cents at the bowser.
Right.
And then the other implication is obviously the feed through to other products and those sorts of things.
Well, let's talk about that. If it does hit other products based on logistics, etc., inflation, we know it's already a little bit sticky at the moment. Could it go up?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we have to keep in mind is that Australia has a relatively high exposure to petroleum products, so about 12% in the CPI basket. And then we've got an indirect exposure and a direct exposure of about 54%. So think of things like lipstick, garbage bags, anything that's synthetic like polyester. It all needs oil, and that's the stuff that's ultimately going to feed through into CPI and therefore feed into the RBA's thinking as well.
And airline prices too, potentially.
Absolutely.
With fuel going up.
Yep.
Fuel excise. We know off the back of the start of the Ukraine war, the government took half of the fuel excise off to reduce prices at the bowser. Could they do that again?
Well, I think it's about 51 odd cents, the fuel excise for cents per litre. So they've got a lot of low-hanging fruit there that they can chop into if they need to. I think it ultimately depends on how long the war goes for and how long oil prices stay elevated for. If we're talking about a year-long situation, clearly it would be probably a good policy in order to reduce the hip pocket expense. But I think it's just going to come down to timing.
There's a little bit of buffer there, which is nice to know. Christian, appreciate your time. Here's now.